everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. My name is Josh. Thanks for joining me today. We've got more of a serious video today, something that's kind of happened in the last couple of days, and I wanted to really talk about it. It's a really tough subject, and it's something that I really wasn't going to touch on for, it's been 2 years since this type of subject has come up, and I haven't talked about it. And it was for good reason. But last night something kind of went down, and I want to talk about it. And we're gonna today was supposed to be a Dr. D Dozen video, but something went down on the Dr. D Dozen snark page, and so we're gonna talk about it today. And it's kind of forcing my hand, but I'm sort of glad that it is, because it is a conversation that needs to be had about children's medical privacy and the things that we're seeing on TikTok and YouTube. Is it okay? What are the pros and cons to it? If you're brave, let's have the conversation. So if you're new to the Dad Challenge podcast, one of the main things I talk about on this channel is the exploitation of children and how wrong it is. Now, I think most people would agree with me that children deserve privacy. One of the big things about exploitation is these kids don't have any of that. Especially when it comes to people like Dr. D Dozen, who will share you every little detail about their children's medical diagnosis, including what medicines they take. And before I get started on the meat of this topic, I need to let you guys know that this video, the entirety of this video, all the monetization is going to be donated to the Sanfilippo organization that I've listed in the links below. So if you feel so inclined after watching this video and it's something that strikes your heart, please donate to the cause, because the cause is just. That's for sure. One of the overarching themes of this video is going to be the cause is just. But is the avenue to get there worth it? Is it? I'm not saying it's not. I'm asking you guys a question. This isn't a video about, yes, this is going to be my opinion, and you guys know where I stand on a lot of this stuff, but I'm happy to be corrected. This is going to be questions directed towards you guys generally. And are you okay with what's going on? Now here's the rub. On my channel, I talk a lot about the exploitation of children and how wrong it is. I think most people who have come here and have built this platform with me at 150,000 subscribers would agree with me that the exploitation of children is wrong, right? I think, yeah. I'll put a poll up in the live chat. Yes, we all think it's wrong. But it seems like we're at a crossroads when it comes to this topic. First, I want to talk about what Sanfilippo is. I'm going to have to read some of my notes here, but Sanfilippo is a rare genetic metabolism disorder. A change in a single gene makes a child's body unable to break down certain carbohydrates, sugars, that lead to serious problems in the brain and nervous system. There is no cure for Sanfilippo syndrome. Children who have this genetic disorder of metabolism show no signs at birth, and the disease progresses. As the disease progresses, they slowly lose the ability to speak, walk, and eat. There is no cure. The current life expectancy is 10 to 20 years. It's so sad. It's also known as MPS III and is a type of childhood dementia. It's caused by a lack of enzymes that normally break down and recycle large complex sugar molecule named heparan sulfate. Now, some of the behavioral problems in this genetic disease is behavioral, coarse facial features with heavy eyebrows that meet in the middle, in the face above the nose, chronic diarrhea, enlarged liver and spleen, sleep difficulties, stiff joints that may not extend fully, vision problems and hearing loss, and walking problems. Mount Sinai is one of the leading hospitals in the nation and has an entire page dedicated to this disease. So the other day, I was getting a bunch of messages about this account called Haidyn's Hope. And it is a mom named Carrie, and Haidyn and Carrie, yes. And it's a page dedicated to exposing this disease that's very rare. As you can see, she has 1.2 million followers on TikTok with 59.1 million likes. Okay? I'll show you the video she posted in a second. And it goes without saying that the highest videos on this channel are in the traffic that is brought is because of Haidyn. Okay? I want to show you what she said. It's very important you watch this, because I'm not snarking on this woman. I'm not hating on her. This isn't a video to be like, I'm fighting back at all. This is, if anything, this brought me to a crossroads of questioning about this topic, about the idea of showing your child's diseases, terminal illnesses, and everything on the internet for people to watch. That's a question we're going to have to answer by the end of this video, and hopefully something that we can talk about as adults. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I just want to present to you all the pros and cons of it and let you decide. Okay, so let's watch what she had to say.
A little while ago, I had a message from the Dad Challenge podcast.
I know I'm going to stop this. But the message was private, by the way, everybody. I didn't make a video about her. I didn't do a TikTok about her. I didn't say, this is terrible, look at this. I said this. Here you go, because I want to be very, very, very forthcoming with what you guys are seeing here. I'm getting some comments on your content and the oversharing of your child's medical business. You need to realize that kids deserve dignity. They are not here for people to stare at and use for cash. For shame. When I say use for cash, I mean like advertising and sponsorships and everything else. I did say for shame, and it's what I do. I think it is for shame that people do this, and I'm going to stand by that thing. So I sent that on, doesn't say, Monday, almost a week ago. And then she was sitting on it for a little while, and she could have just messaged me privately and we could have had a great conversation, because I do have lots of great conversations with lots of creators. She has even told me that she's spoken to other creators in the same vein of what I do, and has, helped people understand it more and has developed relationships in that, except no, she didn't want to do that. She wanted to call me out because she wanted to mobilize her 1.2 million followers to come after me, to say, look, woe is me. This guy is coming after me for what I'm doing.
Not very nice message about my content and sharing my daughter's story, and basically that it was a shame.
I said for shame.
Of course, I naturally wanted to react, and not in a healthy way, but I decided to pause and remind myself of why I do what I do.
Now, she took this opportunity, and good for her, to say, here's why I do what I do. Using my private message to her as this okay, this guy's an asshole and I wanted to respond in a bad way and I didn't, so I took the time to make a video instead, right? And I get that because that's what I do and I understand that. I'm not throwing shade at her for that. It is her prerogative to do so, okay? But I will give her props for saying, okay, he said that, but let me tell you what I do.
Because of Haidyn's story and her face, because that matters, with features of Sanfilippo syndrome, at least 5 children that I know of have been properly diagnosed at a younger age. Haidyn was not properly diagnosed with Sanfilippo syndrome, and us finding out that she was terminally ill from genetics that she inherited from us until age 5, because no one would listen, but I kept pushing. We have raised thousands and thousands of dollars towards research for Sanfilippo syndrome. I got to do a Zoom call last week with a follower and a student and a class at California State University to educate about Sanfilippo syndrome. That's huge. I feel legit. The FDA, scientists, and medical professionals, they hear us and they are listening. I walk into almost any doctor appointment and we are recognized, and these medical professionals know what Sanfilippo syndrome is. A little while...
Okay. So good for her. Are you telling me that doctors didn't know what Sanfilippo? Are you telling me that this woman is the only person who has exposed Sanfilippo for what it is to the world? Now that's what she's alluding to, and I'm not saying she's saying it, maybe she misspoke, but it's not the case. And so I understand what she's trying to say there, and she's like, look what we have done, look at my accomplishments, and that's great. I have lots of accomplishments about what I've done with the exploitation of children. So many people have taken their kids off, have messaged me and said, thank you for exposing me to this. Thank you, I was going to do this, and I'm not going to anymore. I mean, I'm in thousands of messages at this point for that, okay? And that's good. That means what you're doing is working, right? And it's a good thing to expose a rare genetic disease to people who might not know. That's the good thing. But it needs to be said that that was a private message. I wasn't going to make a public video about it. I was just going to say, look, you need to be careful with your daughter's medical privacy. I understand. So that's going to be the questions we're going to bring up here in a second. Okay. And so this is what happened. We went over to Reddit, and people on Reddit, and I told you this, people don't like me on Reddit. Not everybody. There's some that do like me, some that don't. The Dr. Dozen snark thread, for all intents and purposes, we're pretty supportive of what I did because we're all on kind of the same page. Now, this is going to be quite a bit of a video because I'm going to respond to a lot of people's comments because they muted me or blocked me from being able to comment, okay? So first thing you gotta know about the Dr. D Dozen group, and I have brought probably thousands of people to this page, which I am now obviously going to be, not gonna be directing you to the page. There's another page I wanna direct you guys to. It's called Dr. D Snarkity, and it's something that I'm going to put my weight behind and grow this page instead. Obviously, it's because, Josh, you just butthurt. But here's the thing. Maybe I am a little bit butthurt because when you post something about me, right, on a page that I'm active on, that we're all kind of on the same page for, you break the rules of the page, 2, first of all, this no trolling shit stirring. I mean, this is a page for snark, so that's a stupid rule. But here it is. Rule number 11 on this page is stay on topic. No meta posts. Okay? He posted the video, and this is exactly what Carrie wanted, by the way. She wasn't out there being like, look what I can do. She's actually saying, I want to mobilize people against Josh for speaking out against what I'm doing. And hey, I have learned a couple of things even since covering this, because I wrote all this information down. I'm doing the research on this whole thing because, again, I think I'm at a crossroads here, and I'm asking you guys to chime into the conversation with me, to make a decision and maybe see if I'm getting something wrong, maybe I'm getting something right, or do we agree or do we disagree? Too long didn't read. Haidyn has a genetic condition called Sanfilippo. Blah, blah, blah. Not many people know about it, so Carrie, Haidyn's mom, as well as some other families, post on social media to raise awareness and hopefully funding. Not really DD related. Exactly. But the mods kept it in, right? Now, the mods have blocked me from a bunch of different posts. Oh, you've body shamed because I talk about her thumbs. Fine. I guess it's breaking the rules. I understand that. But the mods won't respond to me. And the mods, just so you're aware, are hidden. They are anonymous. These mods are anonymous probably because they want to avoid lawsuits. But it's not going to help you, just so you're aware. I want to go down to comment. I'm not going to read every single comment because there's like over 150 comments, but I want to read some that I wasn't allowed to respond to because I did respond to some, and then they blocked me, but kept this post up that has nothing to do with Doherty Doesn't. So I'm upset because I'm not allowed to stand up for myself. And as you guys know, I'm a huge proponent for justice. If I've said something wrong, fine. I will call myself out and I will apologize. But if you call me out and you don't have good logic and I'm not allowed to argue my point, then I'm going to make a video on this beautiful platform that I have. Okay? My prerogative here to stand up for myself for this. Okay? And it's like I'm shaking my head in wonderment sometimes at what people find acceptable for exploitation and not. Because that's what we're talking about today. And so here's a comment that's kind of like it's kind of in the middle. Oh my, I had no idea this disease even existed. I fully stand by TCP with most things, but for this, she's literally raising awareness. Remember this. This is the thing we talk about so much. I've had a quick look and don't get the exploitative vibe from her at all. Raising awareness and seeking research and help. Now, we have covered this at length, ad nauseum, when everybody's like, well, why do you say these things about you kids? Why do you give so much autonomy and privacy away? Well, we're spreading awareness. We're raising it. I hate this. But in this topic, they're right. She is raising awareness to a genetic condition that is very rare. So that's why I'm saying the crossroads. I'm going to keep saying that. It's the raising awareness. And these people will these people say that same thing when Alicia posts these photos of her children's full diagnosis? No, they're not. They're going to call her a flaming redheaded bitch for doing that. Same damn thing, right? It's okay for Carrie to do it because it's a rare genetic condition. But it's not okay for Alicia to do it, okay? But I'm in the camp that they're both wrong, right? And I think most people with a brain in their heads would probably see that, okay? So this is so hypocritical of these people to be like, no, they're raising awareness, but Alicia's exploiting. How do you square that? And then Arlo Heaven, who's the one who posted this, said, agree, there's a massive difference between what Alicia's doing and what Carrie's doing. TCP has no idea what he's talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking when it comes to child exploitation, right? No idea. None whatsoever. Now, these blanket statements are just bullshit garbage. Because how do you square it? Alicia does it. Carrie does the exact same thing. You could even argue that Carrie shows way more. But because she's raising awareness, then that makes it okay. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Someone who's in agreement with me says it's exploitation, period. The child doesn't get to decide if her disorder is plastered to the internet. She shouldn't be forced to show, perform, talk about it. Using your child for social media content, regardless of intent, is exploitation. This person got downvoted to oblivion. You can't see the comment unless you poke it up, right? Because it's against the narrative of like, if you support Josh in this whole thing, oh my God, you're so wrong. We're going to downvote you. That's the thing about these echo chambers on here, okay? It's a good thing and a bad thing. They're calling out Alicia, but then supporting someone doing the exact same thing. You can't make it up. And then this person thinks then Arlo Heaven's coming out here and thinks she's got something. She says, Haidyn's not performing. She has the cognitive ability of an infant. Remember that. Which, as you know, I'm going to say it, means that she'll never be able to give informed consent, which Carrie has also admitted to me in our DMs, which she said I can share. But is the daughter consenting to having her entire life be put on the internet? No, she isn't. She has virtually no say in what info her mom posts about her because she's still a kid and doesn't know the complex ramifications and issues. right? Even if the parent is raising awareness for the child's special circumstance, if the child doesn't give informed consent for being put on the web forever, then it's exploitation. It doesn't matter if the parent isn't doing it to get money. They're still inadvertently exploiting their child for financial and future gain by constantly posting about their lives online. And it cannot be overlooked that her platform is in the millions. If I just typed in Control F and typed in raising awareness, it'd be like 5,000 people saying the same stupid shit. And then someone said, unfortunately, Haidyn is 7 and already on hospice, so the future ramifications really don't exist. This person wrote that and was upvoted for writing that. Upvoted. I can't upvote because they muted me. Then someone says, wow, that's quite a sentence, and was downvoted. It's weird that I can see some, then I can't see others. Like you said that. So because this child possibly doesn't have a long future, it's okay to exploit them. Somebody said that with words on the internet. Here's a comment. No, you're so wrong. It's so clear the mom is sharing a story to try and make a difference for other families. Now, it's weird because who else says that? Every family vlogger says that exact phrase. We're just trying to make life easier for everybody, to just bring a little hope to people. They all say this same exact phrase. Exploitation is benefiting unfairly from someone else. No, not necessarily. I mean, that's one part of exploitation. The only benefit she's receiving is raising awareness for a rare terminal. Okay. And I've talked to her. She does make money. She has her Venmo posted, and we'll talk about that in a second. If we got rid of every person who posts their kids on social media, there wouldn't be a whole lot of people left. That's stupid. You're dumb. Again, I don't know where my comments went, but I made some comments, so hopefully they'll come up soon. Yeah, it's not the same at all. DCP is way out of line. Am I way out of line? I mean, I feel like people should say, Josh, you're standing on your laurels. Right? You think exploitation is wrong, it's got to be wrong over here. If I say one's wrong and one's not wrong, what does that make me? Someone says, pretty sure she, along with other Sanfilippo parents on TikTok, just raised 50 grand to go towards research trials. And again, there's the rub. There's the crossroads, because it is a good thing. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons. That's great, but not this kid's responsibility to be that for the world. You can't have it both ways. And of course, I'm downvoted, right? It's not this kid's responsibility. And can the mom do it without showing the kid? That's the question. I'm pretty sure she said before that the money she makes from social media, she donates to things like that. No. And I have a DM from her saying that's not true. Carrie will take Venmo requests to donate to the places if that person says, can you take this donation I'm sending to your Venmo and give it to the place? Then she will, and she'll send that person a receipt. Okay? But anything else she receives, she admitted to me that she keeps. It is what it is. You guys make with that what you want. So this person here is spreading misinformation about that, by the way. But I'm not allowed to answer back. Again, another comment like, it's never going to, and she will never have the chance to grow up and regret her mom posting on social media. It's not comparable. Oh my God, I can't believe people say this with their words. What you're saying right there is that this kid doesn't deserve privacy, autonomy, dignity, anything like that, because she's not going to live very long. I cannot believe people will voice that out into the internet, into the ether, on the internet for everybody to see. Like, I may be wrong about a lot of things, and maybe I might even be a little bit skewed in this, maybe, okay? But I will never ever think that. And I think everybody can agree with me, by saying something like that makes you a disgusting piece of shit. I like her content. The thing is, she's not oversharing or exploiting her child. That can be left up to interpretation, because if you see her page, you don't think this mom is oversharing? I mean, I don't know what else to show you. Do you think that is oversharing when you have 59.1 million likes and every video with your daughter who has this disease is in it has a massive hit on it? You think that's not oversharing? The question will always be brought up. Can you share about this disease without oversharing about your daughter? And the answer is yes, you can. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to, because Sanfilippo has these specific genetic markers in the face and everything, and I understand that. Right? And that's what she's told us. She's like, well, I have to show the face, and that matters. But do you have to show the face 1 million times? Right? Do you have to show your daughter having constipation? Do you have to show her you leg locking her onto the bed while you feed her? Right? Maybe you do. But man, maybe I'm wrong about that. But that comment is stupid. She is oversharing. Right? Absolutely. And then the person that usually stands up, and they all get downvoted, by the way. It is so insane that I keep reading that it doesn't matter what we do to this little girl since she won't live very long. I have a close friend with a son with Sanfilippo. I understand how devastating it is and how scary for the parents and siblings and child. Am I the only one that doesn't understand why it's okay as long as the child passes away before there are consequences? And they got downvoted for that. And here's the ever famous comment that you get all the time. Josh is exploiting his children too. I hate this stupid comment because it's so dumb. On another note, if DCP makes videos about people who exploit their children, or that he believes to be exploiting their children, he's profiting. How did those exploited children get there? And does that mean that everybody who covers anything that has to do with children everywhere, or any victim whatsoever, like the news or anything, are they also exploiting it? And if so, why are you on this snark page about this family, you dumbass? You're exploiting them too. You're getting off on it. You need to stop with this argument because it makes you look stupid. I blur their faces out, and I have made promises that if these families take their kids down off these channels, I will remove my content too. It's always been a promise. So suck my ass. And the person's like, obviously who's against me. That's so true. I don't see it that way. Okay. And this is what I wrote. Finally, it's on the page here. So honestly, this kid doesn't deserve to have this. She deserves dignity. Everyone does. You might not agree, but informed consent cannot be given by this girl to be this example or exposure to this disease. Is it possible she can do so without exposing all her daughter's medical diagnoses? Can she do it without selling merch with her daughter's name on it? I said face, but it's her name. Amazon wish lists and fundraisers. Would you do this to your sick kid? Put yourself in the kid's shoes. Exploitation is exploitation. And I get downvoted for that. Even though that's exactly what I say about Doherty Dozen, and they would all upvote me like, you're a hero. Fucking idiots, man. Haidyn doesn't know what's going on as far as social media presence goes. Carrie is very careful what she posts online, and I'm sure is keeping really rough parts private. I just showed you her TikTok. Okay, there's like hundreds and hundreds of videos. I took one small look and I fully disagree. She has merch for sale and has over 1 million followers, but even if all that was true, the kid deserves to not have this online for everyone to gawk at. Sorry, not sorry. And then Carrie chimes in. Hey Josh, it's Carrie. If you would have looked a little further at the merch, you would see all proceeds from Bonfire go directly towards Cure Sanfilippo Foundation. I create that merch, the website makes and distributes, all profit goes to a cure. Yes, I blocked you because I'm in a good place mentally and I'm trying to stay there. My heart is clear. But you came and commented. My heart is clear and my intent is pure. You don't have to agree. You can also understand that you haven't lived this journey. For that, I'm thankful. And then I'll get into what she says later. And then Carrie, if you'd like me to remove this post, I can. Oh, you're so nice. And Carrie didn't want the post removed, just so you're aware. And then a bunch of people's blowing smoke up Carrie's ass for being such an amazing mom. Then says, I'll do a full video on it. I don't like being accused of harassment. You didn't post what I wrote, and I showed you guys what I wrote. You made it sound like I flew off the handle in a rage. You were disingenuous and are trying to mobilize your fans. I won't be intimidated. I'll make my case and move on. There's another one that's doing the same thing. Your daughter deserves privacy and dignity. That's all I'll say here. You're welcome to come on the show and have an adult convo if you'd like, but that's not what you're after. I messaged you privately. You went public. You want the drama. Then I got downvoted. I'm not sure how to share it here. I never said you were harassing me. I said exactly what happened. You messaged me saying there were concerns about my content. And she says, I cannot stop you, but whatever you do, my mission stays the same. And again, this is why this crossroads exists where we are now. I said, no, I'll donate every penny of the revenue to the exact cause you have because that's inherent good. But there needs to be a conversation about it. You have a right to air it out as you see fit, and so do I. And then she tells me which one I can donate to, but I have the one that I'm going to donate to in a second. I'll show you which one. And someone says, I wrote, are you seriously saying it's okay because she is unaware of her social media presence? I do think there's something to be said for the point she will never have the chance to regret embarrassing childhood photos as an adult. It is not comparable to a typical healthy infant or toddler who is unaware of social media. And then I wrote, and it's the only one that people upvoted me on. I have no words. This person, again, this is the third person that said, because this child is going to die, it's okay. When I wrote, I was like, oh my God. And this is when Doherty Dozen mod team chimed in. And again, they are anonymous. Disagreements are fine. Trying to cause discord is not. I didn't post this post. I messaged her privately. Assholes. We do not ostracize the mothers of children who are chronically ill, who are helping provide resources for other families. I didn't ostracize anybody. I privately messaged her. Someone else posted this on your thread, breaking your rules, which you kept up, then banned me from. You're an idiot. He's a Canadian pro-Trump bully. Now it gets political. I'm not pro-Trump, and I've said it a million times, but this person doesn't care. He made fun of me when I spoke about the ramifications of the convoy and how it affected me as a disabled woman. I live downtown Ottawa. The convoy was hell. I just spoke at a hearing about my experiences. I'm wondering there, one bad joke, if you can post where I made fun of you for for being a disabled person who lives in downtown. Can you post that for me? I'd really like to see that receipt, man. That'd be a super asshole thing of me to do. Could you please post it though? I'd like to see me making fun of you for being disabled and living downtown Ottawa. Let's go. You piece of shit liar. And another stupid ass comment. I'm ashamed to be Canadian because of what DCP is doing. You're ashamed to be Canadian because I'm fighting for the exploitation. I'm fighting against the exploitation of children online. That makes you look stupid, just so you're aware. And this person again, I'm disabled and Josh made fun of me for being disabled. Did I? Well, man, you should post that because my haters would jump on that in 2 seconds flat. There'd be videos galore made about it. And when you talk about the shiny clown and people like, oh, he donated to Gabby Petito Foundation. I don't share when I donate money, but she's like, oh, I dug into him. I did all this. Here's your receipt if you want it. Okay? And this is the last time I'm going to prove what I do. If I say what I'm going to do, I do it. And you guys should know that by now. So all of you people can kiss my white ass. And then someone writes, is this the DCP or Doherty Dozen subreddit? And this was her logic. I see him discussed and praised here, so we have to bring him down. Okay, got it. Anyway, I'm getting pissed about this because and then all these other ones I wasn't allowed to respond to, right? They just let this up and didn't let me respond, but didn't tell everybody that I was banned from this chat. So I would have responded. Absolutely, I would have stuck up for myself and responded all this. But they didn't let me. Someone says, I think DCB should not be messaging random creators about their content. Why don't you kiss my ass and not tell me what to do? I can do whatever I want. I'm my own person. You're not my real dad. Someone says, DCB, can you admit that you got this wrong? I'd like to answer you, but I was banned. Now, let's get to the other shit. I got a whole ton of messages on Instagram too, but we just basically the same thing. Oh, you're such an asshole. I hate you for, reaching out. And again, this is what Carrie wanted. She wanted to mobilize her fans to come after me. But I'm the wrong person to mobilize fans after because I will use that and I will absolutely be able to yell my platform even louder because you thought you were creating a place where I would be called out. This is what I thrive in, everybody. This is where I hit the hardest. So as you saw, the message I did send to her is here. And so it was a private message meant to start a private conversation. She took this public and then said, I'd prefer you didn't do a video about it. But she did a video about me. So with all that said, and I understand that people are divided on this type of thing. And there were a lot of people just looking to hate on me for whatever reason because they were just looking for something to attach onto. Because I had a lot of fans in the Doherty Dozen group, and I still do, probably, right? They still basically believe everything I say about Doherty Dozen and the exploitation of children, but not on this side, right? And so let's talk about that. The crossroads. The good of what Carrie is doing on her channel. Now I'm going to read from my notes here because I wrote everything down. Now, the good is the exposure to a rare genetic condition and raising awareness is actually a good thing. If she's right about these 5 families who got to diagnose their child from a younger age, that is excellent. That is a very good and net positive to this whole topic and the conversation, which is something I have to relent on because, but the other side of that coin is that child's responsibility to be that? And is it justified, right? If 5 people got helped. It's like that picture of the guy and the train's coming down the track and there's 2 ways you can go, right? There's the one that can go up and it kills 5 people, or one that can go down and it kills 1 person, right? And you have to make the choice. Now, is putting this whole girl's medical diagnosis and everything on the internet and showing what it's like, but not giving her dignity, privacy, and medical privacy, is that okay if it's going to help 5 other people? That's just a choice you have to make. There's no way around it. There's no third track, right? So in one way, 5 people get helped. In one way, the kid loses all autonomy and privacy. So that's a net negative both ways you choose it. It does give hope for other parents who are like struggling with this and they want to see that they're not alone. That is a big, big thing on the internet. When somebody exposes something or talks about something that they're struggling with and everybody else can like be there and say, oh, I'm not alone, that is a net positive. The building of an online community where these people can go. Now there's a Facebook group out there, and I did ask Carrie about the Facebook group. Let me see if I can see it here. I'll see what she wrote. I asked her a whole bunch of questions. I said, are you on the Facebook parental support groups? And if not, and if so, why do you not share that in your link tree? Hey, if you guys are struggling with this, here's a couple of private Facebook groups that have over 500 members. One of them has over 500 members. You can go here. She doesn't say that. She does not link to that. And she said, yes, I never asked anyone to donate. She said, yes, we have a parents group for SF families, so the group is private, which I don't talk about on my post because we've had weirdos try to join. Now, why do you have weirdos trying to join that? Now, I'm saying because your audience is massive, and in an audience of 1.2 million people, there's going to be some weirdos and predators, right? Again, you can't miss that. That is something that exists that's baked into the cake of this whole social media world. There are creepos and weirdos who get off on this content. It's disgusting, but it exists, right? And these parents go through enough. When I come across new families, I tell them about it, as well as the foundation, because other parents are best resource for medical professions. Okay, so it says, but that's a conundrum. Why would you not want parents in this community? And also, what weirdo is trying to join that group and why? She didn't really answer that. She says, we talk about very personal things with our kids medically and even emotionally. We understand because we're all in this together, but it's not something others need to chime in on because they cannot understand. But I'm saying your whole platform is raising awareness and exposure to this, right? That's a really hard one to square. So, but a net positive that there are building of communities. Another one is the money raised for this condition. She has claimed that she's raised over $50,000 with a bunch of other families, and that's amazing. That's a net positive. That's a high five. Another net positive is an expert that can be connected with and to about the disease. Now, she said in the videos, she went on to a medical school and talked about this disease to other people. She can talk about it to other people who are struggling with it in the medical community. That is a net positive. That is great. But the question again, the other side of that coin is, can it be done without exploiting a child? A platform that can lobby doctors and surgeons to look closer at the condition is a huge net positive. But there's the other side of the coin. All right. Do I believe that she is doing these things? Yes, I do. I do believe that there's some really great things that she is doing. I honestly believe that she is pure in her intentions and everything else. But she also did mention she gets these comments all the time, but doesn't reflect on them and doesn't change anything about it. There are videos about her talking about her daughter's poop and stuff. I mean, I'm saying you can bring awareness to a disease without talking in minutia about the details of everything that she's going through. It's absolutely true. And so when I'm reading all these messages from people on Instagram and from the Reddit post, the one glaring omission that you see, and if you see it, hands up. The one glaring omission is, what about the child's consent? What about it? And we've heard from a bunch of people saying, well, it doesn't matter because the child is terminal. And that, to me, is one of the most disgusting things any human could ever say about anybody else. That is not a good enough excuse to exploit a child. I'm sorry. And for you for saying that, I hope you can reflect on what you just said and realize how shitty of a person that makes you. That's a cold, dead, black heart who would say something like that. But whenever someone responds to me on Instagram about this, I ask them that question. Well, what about the child's consent? And they never answer. They're just like, no, it doesn't matter. They won't answer me. They can't answer the question. Because to answer the question would basically prove me right. Like questions like, how does her being locked under the bed with her legs over her neck while feeding her in a tube help other people? How does that help? Talking about her constipation, how does that help? Okay, if camera in this girl's face, probably almost on the daily, does that help her? Or does that help grow the platform? These are questions we all have to answer. Now, I got to talk about the support groups a little bit more because I went into her Reddit page and she talks about how she's such an advocate for all these things, and I do believe that she is. But the only thing that she follows on Reddit is the comment post on me, where she went and was very happy to see her video up there and came in, and TikTok gossip are the only two places she follows. There's a Sanfilippo group on Reddit that only has 18 members. She's not a member of that group. Okay, I'm not saying she has to be, but it's really curious that the only group she does follow is TikTok gossip. Right? And she did, and to her credit, she says, if you decide to buy Prime, you can add Cure Sanfilippo Foundation as your charity. And I get that, but it's odd, right? She talks about all these places, but never talks about those places with support. I went to the Sanfilippo page as well. This is on teamsanfilippo.org. Organizations for Sanfilippo. I looked for her on this page and she swears she's on this page, but I can't find her anywhere on this page. And I'm wondering why. Now, I'm not saying she has to, but she's on a different page that she donates to a different one. But this one is another one. We're going to donate to this one. Okay. And for this woman who has 1.2 million followers, probably the biggest voice in the Sanfilippo world, doesn't talk about these types of pages. She talks about a different one that's has a very not a good website. Almost didn't load for me, and one point didn't load, and it's really, really not good. But why not, if there's other resources out there, link all the resources? To me, that's just kind of a little bit like, why? Why? And so, but of the person that is on the Sanfilippo world, who is very, very in tune with it, who has the biggest following probably of it, there's no mention of her anywhere on here. None. And there are blogs with families and everything on this page. Zero mention of this woman. And unless she has another sock account or whatever on Reddit for the advocacy, I don't see it. Now, that was just me saying a quick look into this and seeing how can you tell if someone is really on board for a thing, if they're like, I'm supporting these organizations and doing these things, because if you look at her link tree, it's true. She does link to a different, if you look at her page and her link tree, she does link to this one, Cure Filippo's Foundation. It's this website here, Cure Sanfilippo Foundation, and it is, I don't know who runs it. I don't know. But she was very adamant that I linked to this one for your donations. But she was very adamant, and so I'm going to say it. If you want to donate, you can also go here to Cure Sanfilippo Foundation, okay? It is a 501c3 nonprofit, and maybe that's why she said that, because maybe this one isn't a 50313 nonprofit. I don't know. But this one, when you donate, it just goes to this like page where it's like, it looks like it's like a GoFundMe type of thing. So maybe that's what she's saying. If you want to donate to this cause, you likely get a tax receipt for it. So there are two places you can donate. I agree. Go to either one that you wish. And she did correct me on the merch. Doesn't have a picture of her child on it, but it definitely has her name all over the merch. And of course, she links this page because she's on this one, but she's not on the other one. Very interesting. Now, let's talk about the cons, because there were many pros. And I know there was a flip side of the pros. But the cons are like where this is where I have to sit. Unfortunately, this is the honest conversation we have to have and the questions that have to be raised. Okay? The cons. First, a couple of questions for you. Do you believe a child deserves privacy? Question 2, do you believe a child deserves dignity? Question 3, do you believe a child should be able to give consent to being put on the internet? Now, I think most of you would agree with me that all three of those questions are exactly why we sit here and we talk about this shit day after day. These are the things that cannot be answered by the people that are exploiting these children. They'll never be able to answer this question because they don't want to answer the question, because the answer is no, you can't do these things. It is immoral. And if you think consent is needed and privacy should be granted and all these dignity should be given to the child, why is that different in this case? I'm asking you honestly, what am I missing? Because I might be missing something. Now, it might come back to that diagram of the guy that's pulling the thing, which way the train goes, okay? It sucks, but it's the reality of this conversation. And if you got balls enough to admit it, you're like, yep, it is worth taking away this child's medical dignity, privacy, and everything else if it's going to help these other families that see that. Then at least you're honest. But I can't be there because in my scenario, that guy doesn't stand there. Both those families aren't there because I don't think it's right. Or in my scenario, the person at the bottom of the track isn't visible. Okay, and it's just a clear track because I honestly believe you don't need to overshare about a child on the internet to bring awareness to anything. We have talked about that ad nauseum so many times. You don't need to. Now, in this case, you might need to a degree, which then I wouldn't even be talking about this because of the facial features and everything else, right? But when is it oversharing? That's the question you guys need to answer. And if you believe that she doesn't deserve privacy, why? Please answer that question. Why does this child not deserve privacy, but Doherty Dozen's children deserve privacy? What's the difference? And I'm going to read this. It's for the cause. Many claim that up to 5 other families were able to diagnose their children because of the TikTok, and that's great. Well, this is an upside to it all, for sure, but I won't diminish that MPS 3 affects 1 in 70,000 births. As I was reading the comments, I noticed that people made it sound like there was 1 in a million. It was so rare that the only way to find out about this was through this woman's TikTok, which is not the case, everybody. There's a large community of people who share inside of a private group about this disease. Another question which I alluded to earlier was, is it this child's responsibility to be the poster child for this cause? Does consent matter if the message gets out and it helps? Would you be willing to admit in an open air that yes, this child's consent, privacy, and medical dignity is outweighed by the good she could bring by being the poster child for this disease? I need you to answer that question honestly. And if you answer it, I'm not going to judge you either. If you say, yeah, it is. I mean, okay, then that's the crossroads we're at. Okay, at least you're honest. I just disagree. I have no doubt it is acceptable to some, because we have heard from the Reddit forum that it is acceptable to some, to most. But my stance will not allow me to waver on that at all. I am an advocate against the exploitation of children online. And so I have to stand up for even the children that you think it's okay to exploit. Or that makes me a hypocrite. Again, if we go back to her thing, where is the link to these pro groups? Because if you look at the links, it's TikTok for a Cure, which is her TikTok page. Here's the Cure for the Sanfilippo Foundation, which is great. Testing Sanfilippo syndrome. This is awareness for sure. This is her PO box. This is Haidyn's Amazon wish list. This is Big Sissy's wish list, which is the big sister who's a teenager who has a wish list. This is Haidyn's Hope merch, which does go to the, what she said, goes to the foundation. Love Haidyn shirts, which I think also goes to the foundation. This is her in Good Morning America. Haidyn's activity chair, which is probably an affiliate link. It goes here, which she probably gets a kickback for, which is great. Shower and bath chair, which probably gets a kickback for. Haidyn's medical stroller, which probably gets a kickback for. Haidyn's car travel harness. Haidyn's seatbelt medical strap. Haidyn's Hope Facebook page. Haidyn's story, from autism to fatal genetics. And then the Venmo. Now, I did ask her about the Venmo. And she did say that if someone says, please donate to the foundation, I will, and I'll give them a receipt, but otherwise she will keep it. And again, as a parent who loves his children, I mean, would I do this? If my kid had some kind of fatal genetic rare disease, would I there's no end to what I would do too. I agree with you guys. That's the crossroads here. I don't think that I would exploit my children, but I would find a way. Absolutely. If someone wants to give me money because I have all these medical bills and everything else, I did ask her how she pays her medical bills, and they are covered by her husband's generous job. So she doesn't need social media to pay her bills. She admitted that to me. Okay? They do have fundraisers, I think once or twice yearly, where the money does go into their bank account. It does not go to the foundation. It goes directly to them to help with offset, I don't know, I guess more bills, I suppose, or just make their life a little easier, get something that she might need for her care. Okay? I'm not going to judge her for that, because that's just the way the world works. If people want to donate to somebody who's struggling, go for it. But don't sit there and say every penny she gets goes to this, because it's not true and she admitted it. Okay? And that's fine. But it's also not wrong what she's doing. You want to raise money for that's great. But don't sit there and tell everybody that she's this person that she's not, because she'll tell you and openly admit that she's not giving all the money to the foundation. So stop lying. And I'm not saying Carrie's lying, because Carrie's the one telling the damn truth here. She's the one willing to have an open conversation with me about this stuff and educate me on it. The other people just looking to hate, and they'll use anything, even this child, to hate on me. Another notable thing that I wrote down here is she has another child who's a teenager who gets a little bit more privacy online, very, very rarely, but she did say, I'm very careful with what, I have to read this to you because it really, really got me, actually. One of the things I was like, huh? I do share my oldest from time to time, just not often. She's a teenager in high school, and she's also grieving like we are. If she wants to make a TikTok, I'll do it, or I'll answer questions about her. I will share pictures or videos of her and her sister if she's okay with it. So she asks her daughter's consent. She's the best big sister and so sensitive and genuine. And I believe, for sure. Listen to this. I am more so protecting the hateful people on social media from attacking her because she reads the comments. And I said, that says a lot. That's baked into the cake, and I understand that. But she protects her older daughter, but not this one. There's no other way for me to interpret that. Okay? But she said I'm allowed to say that because she wrote it to me. So now the big conundrum, the big question, the big crossroads for everybody. Would you do this? If your child medical care was like $1 trillion and you had no other options, and you thought that exploiting your child online, let's not say exploiting, exposing your child's illness online would bring you financial stability, fame, big following, a little bit of a voice, would you do it? This is an honest question. Knowing what I know now, of course I wouldn't. But if you have good intentions, you might not know that this other side exists. And so it could be, okay, I understand that. And I think we all would. I think a good parent will go to the depths of the earth to help their child no matter what it takes. And that's why this is a conundrum. That's why this is a question, and not me just throwing heat and hate. Because I'm not entirely sure I'm completely right about this. I mean, there are some things I won't waver on that I know I'm right about. But there are some things for sure that I'm like, okay, I get that. I understand that too, and you got to have humanity for that. So here's some final thoughts. Do I believe Carrie has good intentions? Yes. Yes, I do. After speaking with her and seeing her honesty ooze through the conversation we've had, even though I know initially she was super upset and admitted so and wanted the heat to come towards me, it doesn't matter. She ended up having a great conversation with me and was willing to answer all of my questions candidly. And that really, really proves to me that she's genuine in what she believes. I just honestly think that she has to choose between pulling the lever, and she's made her choice. And that is something I'll never have to do, I hope, in my life. Okay? And so you have to have compassion for her for that. She has chosen this path because she thinks it's the best path for her kid. I disagree, but it doesn't mean that she's wrong. I know that's going to be hard for a lot of people to hear considering my message on this channel. But when it comes to kids who are sick and terminal and parents who are losing their children online, and there are a whole bunch of these people. There's another lady on TikTok too. The kid can't blink or something, and the comments will break your heart. Okay, it's disgusting. Some people are like, just put it down already, and just, have you tried to turn it off or blow into the cartridge, and all these things. They think it's funny. And this woman keeps these comments up about this child. That's where the dignity comes in. If I were to go to this woman's page, if she were to ever block me and see it, would I see disparaging comments about this child? And if so, why are they still there? Okay? But I do honestly believe that Carrie is genuine, and I do think that she's struggling and hurting, and this might be an alleviation from all that. We can't overlook that too. The escape from the horror, because that is a big, big part of this. That should never stop us from being able to ask the question, is it okay? This is going to be a very divergent move from yes, no, it's gray. This one is gray. I know I'm very black and white for most things, but it is gray. On certain things in this topic, there's black and white. On certain things, there's white. And in the middle, there's a lot of the gray stuff, because there's humanity to consider here too. When I talk about Doherty Does and all these other families, there's no humanity to consider. They're doing that straight up for cash. This woman has told me she is not in the creator fund on TikTok, so does not make money through TikTok alone. So that needs to be said. Where's the sweet spot between talking about, exposing, raising awareness, and oversharing? This woman, when she talks about my kid was screaming for 2 months, or constipation, or how you feed her, and all the kind of stuff, and having a camera in her eyes. Where is the balance? Could there be more of a balance? I think even Carrie would say, if I asked her that question, yes, there probably could be more of a balance. What is the benefit to showing every minute detail, every doctor visit, every cough, every hiccup, everything to the internet? What is the benefit? That's a question you have to answer. When does it switch from advocacy to entertainment? This fishbowl-esque, like, zoo-like thing that TikTok has become. It's not just her. There are so many kids struggling with certain things that people just go to stare at. Carrie, I have a question, because I know you're watching this. If you were to walk with your child to a park or whatever, and people just stare incessantly at your child, would that make you feel uncomfortable? Would you feel like a little bit violated? Would you be like, why are you staring? It's so rude. Or if a kid made a snide remark or whatever the case may be, would that make you feel good? Because what you're doing here is essentially that. 1.2 million following, watching every move. And for all of you out there, if you were Haidyn, would you appreciate this? And the last final thought. If you are against the exploitation of children, this one is not a free pass. But you do have to answer these hard questions about this topic. This is a crossroads in the Dad Challenge podcast. Does the good outweigh the bad? Everybody take a deep breath. We're going to need it today. These topics get really hard, and unfortunately, they are conversations we have to have. It's not black and white like it normally is. And those people on Reddit, some of them have good points, right? Some of them are blinded by their hate. Some of them are just being a bunch of dick asses, and that's okay too. But if you can't look at the other side and answer the hard questions, then we can't be in a conversation together. If you can't come to me with logic and reasoning and answer my questions honestly, then get wrecked, because you're dumb. And it makes you look silly. And it actually is detrimental to Carrie and her cause. Right? So tell me what you think below about this conversation. Am I wrong? Am I right? Did I get some things wrong? Did I get some things right? What have I missed? I'm absolutely open to being wrong about this. And I'm absolutely open to learning more about this. This is why I don't talk about like miscarriages and all that kind of stuff. It's just, this stuff is really hard to talk about. But my hand was kind of forced. Also, head over to Doherty Snarkety. Spelled Doherty, Doughetry, Snarkety. I'll link it below as well. That is the page we're going to continue to support here. We're going to grow that page because I don't like anonymous mods owning a page that literally, like, I'll come out on my camera and I will talk about this with my face. But you've got anonymous mods sitting behind the scenes, just doing whatever the hell they please and blocking me from being able to stand up for myself. I'm not for it. So head over to Doherty Snarkety. Those mods are completely visible, and I've talked with them, and they will stay on topic 100%. So thanks for joining me, the Dad Challenge podcast, everybody. You are amazing, valuable, and beautiful. Thank you for your input on this. I think it's very valuable, and I will listen to you in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Don't fly flare. I'll see you tomorrow.